All right, welcome back to Hasbro's Hide. Continuing on with our 1903 Springfield made by Remington in 1942. We have it all back assembled. So I put, if you've been following this, I put the new Criterion Barrel on it. We had to work on getting the original sight collar on and or off and back on, timing and fitting to the receiver, and then just simply assembling it back. And so it's back in a as close as I can get period correct stock. And then hardware should be correct, minus I think this swivel. If I'm wrong here, let me know, but I have basically milled hardware to this point. And I know in this time period there was some mixing of milled and stamped, so it may not be so bad. But anyway, we have it back to where it is ready to fire. But before we fire it, I wanted to take a look at our chambering job, because if you remember, we had to finish chamber this, or finish ream it, somewhere around 10 thousandths of an inch. But you do that, of course, with go, no-go gauges. And if you're not familiar with that, look back at the last video and you'll see that. So I want to see, one, how did my work come out on that? And then also, how does that reamer cut that we got from 40rentals.com? And then also, how does the bore look from our new Criterion barrel? Because I've never purchased a Criterion barrel before. I have friends that have them. They say they really are impressed with them. But this is my first experience on this rifle with that. So let's take a look in here now. We're going to use our Teflon bore scope again. And let's go ahead and go down this bore and let's take a look and see what we see. So right here, we're entering, and I'll expand this video here a little bit. In fact, let me start recording it here. As we go in here, I'll try to point out some of the areas. So here's right where we're going up into the chamber itself. And this is where our reamer had been cutting, okay? And try to see if I can get that light to cooperate here. It's kind of bright. Let me turn it down just a little bit. The polished steel can kind of give you a lot of glare. Okay, so let's see if that's any better. And here we enter the chamber. And right there is where we start transferring into the chamber itself and where we've been cutting. And so I flushed this, like I say, a lot with the Tap Magic cutting fluid. Also then, was very slow in cutting and not trying to be too aggressive and just taking your time. In fact, it probably took me an hour to finish ream this thing. I was just being real careful, but I think the results speak to itself. So that is an excellent, excellent cut. We've come all the way up now into our transition and into our lands out of the neck. But if you look back through here and back to our shoulder, which will be right there, it is really, really nice and really, really smooth. So yeah, of course, this had nothing sent through it yet. There's not going to be any grooves or anything to hang up a brass. That is just beautiful. So thank you to 40rentals.com. That is a beautiful reamer. Very, very nice and sharp. You can see the transitions up onto the lands where it came through and cut that too. Just beautiful. In fact, the only scratches there are from the original rifling. And polish work, I believe, is what's happened here on the original rifling. And if we get down in here, I'll show you. I took a quick peek at this on the Criterion work down in the bore, and it was pretty amazing. So, yeah, that is really good proof that 40 Rentals reamers are, at least the one I got, is excellent. I mean, really good. I'm sorry for that being so bright, but it's so shiny. The light is really, I'm having trouble getting the light just right without glaring everything. It's so beautiful in there. Okay, so let's go on down the bore and take a look. So here is then a view of Criterion's work. And this is what I was seeing before. It's like, wow, this is as nice as any rifle I've had from Wilson Combat or White Oak Armament, anybody like that. In fact, this has been cut very well, but I'm confident by this level of finish has also been lapped. This is just beautiful. And it's this way all the way out to the muzzle. I'm sort of twisting it so you can see different parts of it as we go down the bore, but it gives you an idea there just how nice those edges are on the rifles, on the lands and the grooves. There's no burrs or no anything, and it's just very well polished. So this is going to be minimal, if any, break-in required. I'll still do some break-in procedure. I'll fire and clean, strip the copper to probably the first through the first 10 rounds, and then shoot 10 in a row, and we'll take a look again and probably clean it again, and then just start firing away. So yeah, this is beautiful. That's going to be very, very minimal break-in, if anything, to be honest. That is really, really nice. So let's go on here and take a look at the crown and see how that looks as we come out of our barrel. All right. So right there's our crown. And what you want to look there is a smooth transition, nice sharp edges, really crisp, no burrs, anything like that. And it is just perfect all the way around. So props to Criterion. That is a beautiful, beautiful job on this bore. So we're all set to go. We should be able to take this thing to the range. The weather cooperates. I think we'll go out today and we'll see how it does. All right, a very, very cold and windy day here at the range, but the gun's ready. It's time to go. It went from almost 70 degrees earlier in the week, and now it's 24 lovely degrees. So anyway, we're going to shoot our 1903 Springfield made by Remington in 1942. It's got the new Criterion barrel. We're going to start with Remington Core-Lock 150 grain to break it in. So let's see how it does, and let's see how our velocities look as well. I have no idea where these sights are going to hit, because I think the minimum sighting range is 200 yards, so we'll aim at the lower target and see where we get. .28, .27. Brass looks beautiful, and it should. All right, so we'll put 5 down the range. We'll go down there and see if we can find them. I can put the camera up, it's just way too cold. 28, 37. Maybe we'll just put 3 down there and then go down and check our target and see. It's like they need to know where we are. 27, 91. It would fall off there. All right, we'll go down range and see what we have. Looks like right here are the first 3 rounds. This was from another shooting. So anyway, first 3 rounds. We'll shoot 3 more and confirm that for sure. All right, let's shoot 3 more down there just to confirm where we're hitting, if that's it. And then we'll do our first cleaning. This bore was so beautifully polished that break-in should be minimal anyway. So we'll go ahead and fire 6 rounds and then clean. All right, last round, then we'll go check our target and clean our gun. All right, I don't know how well you can see that. We'll look at these targets. But this is really encouraging. So now we're at 50 yards, but we're shooting here, here, and here. Last 3 shots. So I'm aiming here. So not too bad, considering that sight is supposed to be a 200-yard sight picture at the smallest. I believe it's true. So anyway, what is that? Maybe we have there, we'll measure it out, but it's got to be 1.25 inches, max 1.5 inches. So to start with, that's pretty good. Now I know where to aim. Let's try to hit our target. All right, we're going to continue on now. I've already cleaned the bore with BoreTech copper remover. And so it is a really good shape, cleaned very easily. I kind of expected that with a level of finish in there. So let's go ahead and shoot. We'll go ahead and shoot up through our 20 rounds to see what we can do on the target. And then that'll be it for today, just because it is so cold with this wind. Hate to be a sissy. You guys in Alaska are probably just laughing at me. But anyway, let's send some more rounds downrange. Well, the action is really nice and smooth. All right, that's 10 rounds through. We'll shoot 5 more, and then just for fun, we'll take the last 5 and we'll shoot them onto our steel target. That one fell really low in velocity. 2777. A little better, 2809. All right, last one. This will be 15 through. 2852. Pretty good range in that factory ammo. All right, we'll let it cool for a minute, then we'll reposition and shoot some steel. All right, now we're going to shoot some steel out there to the right of our paper target. There's a white one and a black one. See if we can hit that. That's 100 yards. I've loaded the magazine. Bingo. Yeah, there's a lot of dust flying down there. That's a big round hitting that thing. Like shooting ducks. I gotta quit halfway pulling that bolt. Pull it like it's meant to and throw those shells out. Back on the white target. And that's it. How about that? First time rebarreling a rifle, let alone a 1903 in this way. And everything's just running great. Just as it should. Take your time, read, learn a little bit, make some tools in this case because of the sight collar. And things are all good. So we'll take a look at our targets and then we'll wrap it up. Welcome back in from the range. Pretty successful trip, although abbreviated range video just because it was so bitter in the cold and the wind. But we'll spend more time at the range with this rifle and work on load development, etc. But for the first firing with these Remington 150 grain core locks, they're pretty good. You know, not too bad. Everything functioned perfectly, no issues at all. The group size here, about 4 inches, but you know, that's me, old eyes, open sights, etc. Getting used to these new sights. I'll tighten that up a bit. So just, you know, it's like when you load everything, you want to look at the brass. Well, I look at the brass anyway, even with factory loads. And there really is, you know, nothing to see there, if you can see that. And you would hope so from factory ammunition. I'll post the stats on the velocities and things. It varied, you know, quite a bit for a factory load, or at least a lot more than my normal hand loads are, and certainly more than my really tight precision rounds are. But, you know, nonetheless, I was just happy to get the new barrel out, to test it, and get the gun back in its original configuration. Because if you saw the first video, this thing was sporterized. And, you know, this is a major transition to me anyway, getting it back to where it was in 1942. So I'm pretty happy. Hopefully you've liked this series so far. Now, like I say, we'll move into more accuracy and load development and trying to see how well we can really do with these type sights, etc. I have diopters to wear that'll help my old eyes a little bit. That'll help some too. But look forward to really trying to dial this thing in. It does not, this type of, when you have this type of, this model of the 1903 and this type of sight, you don't have holes or anything to mount for a scope. And I don't think it will. This is the way it was, and this is the way it was designed to be at that point in time. If I get a scope, I'll find an A3 model and work with it to do that, or an A4. But nonetheless, I'm really happy. Everything's good. The stock I got, the original stock I got is really nice. It's holding up seemingly well. Everything stayed tight. All of our cross bolts and all are good. So anyway, hopefully you like this series too. We'll get on, like I say, to shooting and trying to work at accuracy up on this rifle to see how well we can do as a rifleman now, because that's really what these guys were back then. They were really skilled with rifles when you shoot open sights that far. Some serious skills. So we're going to work on that a bit on the channel. So hopefully you like this, and if you do, give me a like and subscribe.